Outside the grand hall of the third mountain, disciples huddled together in hushed conversation. Did you hear? The Lord of the Three Mountains sent word, the heavenly dear mysterious lady from the 8 wastelands and 10 regions has arrived. What? Gasps rippled through the crowd. Tianlu Zun herself, here? At the 9 mountains? The revelation sent a wave of murmurs spreading like wildfire. Why would someone of her status come here? What do the big shots want with our Joda mountain? I heard it's because of senior sister Chen Suyun. Senior sister? But, it's been years. Why now? Rumors say that Tianlu Zun attained enlightenment long ago. If she truly came for senior sister, then, does that mean she holds a grudge? A nervous silence settled over them before someone muttered, if it comes to a fight, will the mountain masters really just stand by and let it happen? As the whispers of the disciples faded into, Chen Suyun stood silently in the courtyard, her gaze lost in the distant stars. The rumors had reached her ears. After all these years, she has come. Memories flooded her mind. She had once guided Tianlu Zun through the early years of cultivation, shielding her from harm, treating her as a younger sister. Laughter once echoed through the halls where now only distance and resentment remained. Was it fate that brought you back? Or unfinished hatred? Suddenly, a light tap on her shoulder pulled her from her thoughts. Senior sister, what are you doing? She turned. Xiaoyang. Is it because of Tianlu Zun's arrival? He asked. She sighed. Even you know about this. I may not understand everything between you two, Xiaoyang admitted, but she's an enlightened being. Senior sister, please don't be impulsive. Chen Suyun tilted her head toward the sky, her voice quiet. Xiaoyang, do you think senior sister is a good person? Without hesitation, he answered, of course. A bitter smile flickered across her lips. But what if I told you that I once did something terrible? Xiaoyang froze. Her voice was soft, almost distant. Back then, when Master chose her as the next heavenly dear mysterious lady, I was unwilling to accept it. I tried to make her disappear, using secret methods. But Master found out. He used all his life force to stop me, to save his dying disciple. Xiaoyang said no one is perfect, he said firmly. You were young. You made a mistake, but that doesn't erase who you are. You're still my senior sister. You and Tianlu Zun are sisters. If you apologize sincerely, I would forgive you if I were her. Why wouldn't she? No grudge should last a lifetime. Chen Suyun stared at him in astonishment. A gentle smile curved her lips. Time truly flies. 20 years ago, I found you as a swaddled infant at the mountain gate. And now, you've grown into such a kind-hearted young man. She reached out, lightly patting his head. Thank you, Xiaoyang. But you don't have to concern yourself with my matters. Focus on your battle with Gu Wudi for the 9 Mountains Immortal Seal. Xiaoyang's face flushed red. Don't worry, senior sister. I'll definitely win. Yet, deep inside, his heart whispered, I won't let anyone hurt you. Gu Chang'e stood by the pond, his eyes closed as if lost in thought. So this is the grudge between you and your senior sister, he finally said. Beside him, Tianlu Zun gracefully scattered fish food into the water, watching as the koi swarmed. You're so heartless, Master Gu. Don't you even feel a shred of sympathy for me? She asked, her tone carrying a hint of amusement. Gu Chang'e's lips curled into a faint smirk. Sympathy? This is nothing. When I was a child, I nearly died after having my bones dug out. If anything, it should be you who sympathizes with me. Her fingers paused, and she turned to him in astonishment. I didn't expect you to have suffered such a fate. Could it be that this is why you turned to the devil? For a brief moment, sorrow flickered in Gu Chang'e's eyes. Alas, who is born evil? Some are simply forced to become monsters. Gu Chang'e shifted his gaze to her. Seeing you like this, I assume you've wanted revenge for a long time. So, are you going to kill her? Tianlu Zun slowly stood up, brushing off the hem of her robe. What's this? Is Master Gu trying to persuade me to let go of my hatred? She asked mockingly. Gu Chang'e chuckled darkly. If you haven't endured another's suffering, don't tell them to be kind. If someone deserves to die, kill them. If a grudge must be repaid, then settle it with blood. His eyes glinted with hidden amusement. Internally, he mused, whether she sought vengeance or not had nothing to do with him. He was merely here to enjoy the spectacle. A smile bloomed on her lips. Although you're a great villain, I must admit, you're quite interesting. Gu Chang'e smirked. Same to you. You're not playing the untouchable goddess anymore? She leaned slightly toward him, her voice teasing. Then why don't you just submit to me? Gu Chang'e scoffed, leaning away. Don't even think about it. A hushed excitement spread through the 9 mountains like wildfire. What's going on? Are the mountain masters going to clash? Someone whispered, eyes filled with curiosity and trepidation. Haven't you heard? The legendary Tianlu Zun is here to settle her old grudge with senior sister Chen Suyun. Even the Emperor Realm martial arts field has been activated. Gasps echoed through the gathered disciples. The second mountain master actually agreed to let them resolve their grievances through combat? But Tianlu Zunf is an enlightened being. A solemn silence fell over them. Qin Suyun was strong, but compared to an enlightened one. Alas! Senior sister Suyun might be in danger. The past enmity between our senior sister and Tianlu City is beyond what we can meddle in. Some nodded in understanding. That's why the second mountain master had no choice but to allow this battle, right? It's the only way to end the feud once and for all. Excitement and tension mounted. Disciples began rushing toward the martial arts field. Let's go! This battle will be one for the ages. Amidst the crowd, someone spoke in a quieter voice, eyes locked on a distant figure. But look at senior sister Suyun. She's so calm. Does she have a plan to counter Tianlu Zunf? The murmurs died down, replaced by an eerie anticipation. Xiao Yang clenched his fists, his heart pounding like a war drum. Even with the secret treasure I obtained from Master, is it really enough? His brows furrowed deeply. Tianlu Zunf, a being who had long since stepped into enlightenment, stood at the pinnacle of power. If she truly wished, a mere flick of her finger could annihilate his master. A cold sweat ran down his spine. Damn it! His teeth ground together, frustration boiling in his veins. His senior sister, his only family in this world. If she fell today, if Tianlu Zunf struck her down, then no matter who she was, no matter how powerful. Even if you are the heavenly dear mysterious lady, I won't let you go. A sudden crack tore through the sky, splitting the heavens apart like shattered glass. Someone gasped. They're here! Another voice followed in awe. Wait, who is that man beside Tianlu Zunf? On the ground, Qin Suyun lifted her head, meeting the piercing gaze of her former junior sister. A long sigh escaped her lips. Tianlu Zunf's voice carried through the battlefield like an elegant melody, laced with a dangerous edge. Why the sigh, senior sister? Have the years been too kind to you? Are you so content that you fear a mere disturbance from your junior? Qin Suyun's expression was unreadable. Her gaze lingered on Tianlu Zunf for a long moment before she spoke, her voice soft yet filled with meaning. You have changed. A flicker of something crossed Tianlu Zunf's face, curiosity, perhaps amusement. Oh? And tell me, senior sister, what was I like before? Qin Suyun's eyes darkened. In the past, you would never lower yourself to seek help, especially from a man, just for revenge. What happened to your pride? Your confidence? Are you not the same as the women you once looked down upon? A sharp glint flashed through Tianlu Zunf's golden pupils. Her lips curled into a knowing smirk as she took a step forward. It seems, senior sister, that you still haven't had enough. Then, with an air of absolute defiance, she lifted her gaze to the sky and waved her hand in an elegant flourish. My eyes are full of my husband. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Beside her, Gu Chang'e smiled, a dazzling purple, he thought, you really didn't disappoint me. Xiao Yang stood rigidly, he turned to his master, his voice low but urgent. Master, what are the chances of senior sister winning? His master sighed deeply. There is no chance of winning, he admitted. But she should be able to save her life. Xiao Yang's eyes widened slightly, disbelief flashing across his face. Even you, master, do not think highly of her? The master's eyes narrowed as he studied him, sensing an aura that sent faint chills down his spine. The young man stood there calm, composed, unreadable. He didn't need to boast his strength or display arrogance. There was something far more terrifying in his silence, an absolute certainty, a quiet control over everything unfolding before him. What is the origin of that mysterious young man? The master thought, an uneasy weight settling in his chest. Qin Suyun's fingers tightened around her artifact, the cold metal pressing into her palm as she summoned all her strength. Senior sister takes action, someone gasped from the crowd. But Tianlu Zunf only smiled, her golden eyes indifferent. She barely even acknowledged the force surging toward her. Quasi-Emperor Realm 6th Heaven, she mused. Is this all you have? Qin Suyun with a resolute cry, she unleashed its full power. A deafening shatter rang through the battlefield. The artifact, her strongest weapon, crumbled like fragile glass. She staggered backward, sure enough, she couldn't be trapped. Tianlu Zunf wasted no time. In a blur, she rushed forward. Qin Suyun gritted her teeth, desperately weaving an array, but before they could even settle Tianlu Zunf's slash at her. Qin Suyun's bitter thoughts. The gap is too big. I am not her match at all. Tianlu Zunf's voice rang across the battlefield, sharp and mocking. Are you already unable to resist? Is this your limit? Senior sister is still as weak as ever. Qin Suyun's breath was ragged, but noticed not once had Tianlu Zunf aimed at my vital spots. She wasn't trying to end the fight quickly. She is toying with me. Slowly, deliberately, painfully. A cold realization settled in her chest. She wants me to suffer. The tension in the air was suffocating. The battlefield, once filled with the clash of divine power, now echoed with the anxious murmurs of the onlookers. Damn it, someone cursed. Senior sister can't stop her at all. The difference between a quasi-emperor and an enlightened one is just too vast. Another voice muttered in despair. But then, a roar shook the silence. Stop! Xiao Yang, his eyes blazing with fury, stepped forward. Tianlu Zunf, you are the patron saint of Tianlu City. How can you be so cruel and ruthless, without even a shred of mercy for your former fellow disciple? His voice trembled with anger. Even if senior sister wronged you in the past, so many years have passed. Why do you still hold on to this grudge? His fists clenched. Is there no hurdle in this world that cannot be crossed? As the heavenly dear mysterious lady, as her fellow disciple, shouldn't you be more generous? Xiao Yang's voice cracked. I declare that senior sister has been defeated. Stop this! For a moment, there was only the sound of the wind. Then, Tianlu Zunf lowered her sword slightly, tilting her head. You ask me to be generous? Her voice was calm, yet laced with something icy. Chen Suyin, battered and barely standing, gasped out weakly. Junior brother, you don't have to worry about me, this is the grudge between her and me. She doesn't intend to forgive me. She smiled bitterly. I admit it. Tianlu Zun's golden eyes glowed like smoldering embers. Do you even know what she did? Xiao Yang's face darkened, his hands trembling. So what if I know? His voice was raw, desperate. You're still alive, aren't you? You stand here, powerful and victorious. So why can't you let go of your hatred? He took a step forward. Do you really want to kill your former senior sister? Are you even worthy of your title as the heavenly dear lady? The crowd grew restless, voices rising in anger and disbelief. This is too much, someone spat, fists clenched. Just because she's stronger, does she think she can humiliate senior sister like this? That's right, another shouted. Even if she is the heavenly dear mysterious lady, she can't just kill her. This is an insult to the 9 mountains. Do they think so little of us? Murmurs turned into shouts. Aren't they afraid of the 9 mountain masters taking action? Then, like a rolling tide, the cries became one. Tianlu Zunf, stop! Tianlu Zunf, stop! The air trembled with their unified demand. Gu Wudi watched from the side, eyes gleaming with cold amusement. What a united front! He thought, smirking. How foolish. He glanced at the passionate disciples, their determination burning like wildfire. You might as well pray you make it out of this alive. Then, his gaze shifted, locking onto Gu Chang'e in the distance, his expression unreadable. A knowing glint flashed in Wudi's eyes. Perhaps meeting him sooner than planned isn't such a bad thing after all. Gu Chang'e watched the scene unfold, amusement flickering in his gaze. Xiao Yang is shouting so righteously, he mused, lips curling into a smirk. I wonder if he would still be so forgiving if he knew it was my Gu family that wiped out his entire clan? Meanwhile, Tianlu Zun's expression was cold, merciless. The people of Judishan truly are laughable, she sneered. Blindly protecting their own, refusing to see the truth. But the more you resist. She raised her sword, eyes flashing with killing intent. The more determined I am to end her right in front of you. Chen Suyun's breath hitched, her face pale. Junior sister. She whispered, I never meant for things to turn out like this. I never wanted to hurt Master. I regret it deeply. Tianlu Zun's eyes darkened. Regret? She hissed. Regret? In all these years, have you ever cowed out at her grave? Have you even burned a single stick of incense? Chen Suyun's voice trembled. Master, did she leave any other words before she passed? Her lips quivered. I was wrong. I failed her. Tianlu Zun's grip on her sword tightened. Lies. You can pretend all you want, but I will take you down to apologize to her in person. She lunged forward. But then... I told you to stop. Xiao Yang's furious roar. A dazzling light burst forth, illuminating the battlefield like a divine judgment. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Such powerful sword energy. Someone exclaimed, eyes widening in shock. Even with the arena's formations suppressing it, it's still this overwhelming? Tianlu Zun struck without hesitation, her sword slicing directly toward Chen Suyun's heart. But, clang! A golden radiance flashed, absorbing the lethal blow. Tianlu Zun's eyes narrowed. Oh? A protective imperial weapon? Xiao Yang let out a breath of relief. Yes. This is the secret treasure bestowed by Master for protection. Tianlu Zun's gaze grew colder. So many layers of protection. I thought you weren't afraid of death, senior sister. Chen Suyun exhaled shakily. It seems you truly wish to kill me. Tianlu Zun's voice dripped with contempt. Are you afraid? You should be. Otherwise, you wouldn't have hidden in these 9 mountains all these years. Xiaoyang stepped forward, voice firm. Enough! Your master, watching from the heavens, would never wish to see you two fighting like this. Why can't you understand his final wishes, Tianlu Zunf? For a moment, silence. Tianlu Zun's expression darkened. Then, in a sudden, violent slash, she turned her blade toward Xiaoyang. Who do you think you are to lecture me? Xiaoyang's eyes widened in shock. But before the attack could land, a majestic force surged, a translucent barrier snapping into place before them. A voice boomed across the arena. Enough! Whispers rippled through the crowd. The second mountain master. He's finally taken action. Tianlu Zun's gaze sharpened as she turned toward the second mountain master. So, is the esteemed second mountain master planning to intervene in this matter? The second mountain master remained calm. Tianlu Zun misunderstands. I have no intention of interfering, I simply don't want my disciple to disrupt you. A low chuckle echoed through the arena. Interesting. Gu Chang'e, standing leisurely with an air of indifference, smirked. This guy has meddled time and again, and you let him be. But now, suddenly, you step in? That kind of bias, truly a hallmark of your generation. Xiaoyang snapped, eyes burning with anger. Who are you? What does this have to do with you? The second mountain master's gaze darkened. Xiaoyang. Step back. Gu Chang'e's smirk deepened. What does it have to do with me? Didn't you hear her call me husband? A sudden hush fell over the crowd. Wudi stifled a laugh. Ha. Henry Zhang is finished. The second mountain master sighed, his voice placating. Fellow Taoist, please calm yourself. It is my failing as a teacher that he spoke out of turn. I hope you will not hold it against him. Xiaoyang's fists clenched. I am merely trying to persuade Tianlu Zunf to let go of her hatred. Is that so wrong? Gu Chang'e lazily flicked his sleeve. Oh? You don't say? Funny, I consider myself quite simple-minded too. Xiaoyang glared at him warily. Then, in an almost mocking tone, Gu Chang'e added, since everyone seems to agree, then go ahead and let go of your hatred. The crowd buzzed in approval. This gentleman is quite reasonable. Yes, very fair. Tianlu Zun's eyes glimmered with amusement. Since everyone in the Jiu family listens to their husband. She smiled, an enigmatic curve of her lips, before vanishing into the void. Chen Suyun took a deep breath, her voice trembling slightly. Thank you, junior sister, for forgiving me. But deep in her heart, a strange unease settled. That look in her eyes, was it truly forgiveness? Or was it sympathy? The second mountain master laughed heartily, breaking the tension. Ha! Fellow Taoist, your magnanimity is truly admirable. Judician will surely extend you the warmest hospitality. Xiaoyang, eyes bright with relief, rushed forward. Senior sister. That's great. You're okay. Chen Suyun turned to him, her lips parting slightly. Xiaoyang. A sword whistled through the air, its deadly arc cutting past Xiaoyang, straight into Chen Suyun's chest. Xiaoyang's eyes widened in sheer horror. Senior sister. His voice tore through the silence, raw and desperate. Chen Suyun staggered. For a fleeting moment, she turned toward him, her lips parting as if to speak, but no words came. Then, boom. Her body exploded into a burst of light and energy. The second mountain master froze in shock. Around them, the entire crowd stood paralyzed, faces drained of color. Then came the screams. Xiaoyang collapsed to his knees, trembling. Senior sister? He reached out, but there was nothing left to grasp. Tears streamed down his face, silent at first, then came the heart-wrenching sobs. Suddenly, the sky tore open. Ripples of void energy surged forth, and from them, a chorus of furious voices. How dare he kill a disciple of the 9 great mountains? A voice cried out in recognition. It's the mountain masters. Among them, a stunning woman clad in pink stepped forward, her expression icy. If you don't give us an explanation, her voice was sharp as a blade, you will never leave Jiuda Mountain alive. Yet amidst the storm of outrage, a voice, calm and steady, slipped into her mind. Don't be impulsive. Her breath hitched. The second mountain master is afraid of this man. Gu Chang'e's voice was light, almost amused. What is there to explain? He glanced at the furious faces before him, unbothered. Aren't you the noble mountain masters? Isn't this the moment when you should be persuading your disciples to let go of hatred? He let the words settle before continuing, yes, I killed his senior sister. But tell me, his tone turned mocking, is there any grudge in this world that cannot be resolved? Any hurdle that cannot be overcome? Then, with a smirk, he looked directly at Xiaoyang. I wonder, when the time comes, will he be magnanimous enough to let me start anew? Xiaoyang's entire body shook with rage. His hands tightened into fists, nails digging into flesh. "I'll kill you," he roared, lunging forward. Gu Changda sighed, shaking his head. "See? How generous." Tianlu Zunf chuckled softly beside him. "Who says he isn't?" Xiao Yang's eyes burned with fury. "Master?" His voice cracked as he turned to his teacher, pleading. His master's face was solemn, cold. "Stand down," he ordered. "Today's matter was between your senior sister and Tianlu Zunf. As outsiders, we have no right to interfere." Xiao Yang staggered back, disbelieving. Then, in his mind, his master's voice whispered through telepathy. "Don't be reckless, or you'll die in vain." Out loud, his master bowed slightly. "I hope you can forgive my disciple. He is reckless and speaks without thinking. Please, do not take his words to heart." His expression remained unreadable. The feud between Tianlu Zunf and Qin Suyun ends today. The disciples of the Nine Mountains will not interfere in the future. Gu Changda nodded, satisfied. Since the second mountain master has spoken, I will not argue with a junior. This matter is settled. But in his mind, his thoughts twisted with amusement. The real business has only just begun. Xiao Yang stood frozen, teeth clenched, fists trembling. In his heart, a vow etched itself in blood. Gu Changda. Tianlu Zunf. From this day on, I will avenge my senior sister no matter what it takes. I will kill you both. Subscribe.
Like.
Comment.
Share.